Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Yasser Golfraz, and today we'll be discussing the topic of designing business research methodologies. Uh, today, this is our learning outcome 3 of advanced business research. So let's start with our learning outcome 3. So this is learning outcome 3, be able to design business research methodologies. First of all, this is an essential skills for business professional, as it allows us to gather valuable insights and make informed decisions. Research methodologies refer to the systematic approach we take to conduct research and collect data. It involves a series of steps that help us gather, analyze, and interpret information effectively. So here we'll talk about some key points of designing business research methodology. So everybody can hear me if anyone is there, or can you see my screen? Please do let me know if there is any issue, if you can't see my screen or if you can't hear my voice. So designing business research methodologies involves defining research objectives, formulating research questions, selecting appropriate designs and sampling techniques, collecting data, analyzing and interpreting the data, and finally drawing conclusion and making recommendations. By following these steps and utilizing sound research methodologies, we can ensure our business research is systematic, reliable, and provide a valuable insight for informed decision making. So here, first of all, we'll talk about research onion, what the research onion is and what is research onion. Research onion is like a tool that helps researchers navigate the various layers of a research project. Just like an onion has multiple layers, research also involves several stages or layers that we need to peel back. By understanding these layers, we can conduct effective and reliable research. This research onion in a nutshell, by peeling back each layer, researchers can conduct rigorous and well-structured studies. So remember to consider each layer of the research onion when planning and conducting your research projects. Now we are going to discuss the philosophy of research and how it influences our approach to conducting research. In particular, we are looking at AXYZ as an appropriate philosophy of research. So let's get started. First question we need to address is, what is philosophy research? Simply put, is a framework or set of principles that guide our thinking and decision making throughout the research process. It helps us understand the nature of knowledge, how it can be obtained, and how we can interrupt it. So let's talk about why the author has adopted XYZ and as appropriate philosophy of research. XYZ has been chosen because it offers several advantages and align well with the research goals. Research philosophy. how do you work out which philosophy to use? Guess, copy someone else, B and C, map the ontological status of your research objectives. Here we are going to explore this fascinating topic of research philosophy. Specifically, we will discuss how to determine which philosophy to use in your research evidence. What it comes to choosing a research philosophy, you have a few options. So let's talk about them one by one. So first of all, is A, which is guess. So anybody, if there is anybody there, can you tell me what is a guess? Anybody is there? Okay. So while it may seem tempting to rely on guesswork, this approach is not recommended. Research requires a systematic and rigorous approach, and making decisions based on mere speculations can lead to unreliable and invalid results. Second is a B, copying someone else's philosophy. It is perfectly acceptable to draw inspiration from existing research philosophies. Blindly adopting someone else's approach without careful consideration is not advisable. Your research should reflect your unique objectives and perspectives, which may differ from those of others. Then C is map the ontological status of your research objectives. This involves mapping the ontological status of your research objectives. So now what does that mean in simple terms? It means taking a close look at the nature of your research goals and understanding how they relate to the fundamental nature of reality. So by mapping the ontological status of your research objectives, you are essentially trying to determine the underlying assumptions and beliefs that shape your research. Remember, if your research chapter does not have a strong statement of the philosophy adopted, it is unlikely to score highly. The philosophy has a distinct influence on the individual research method selected. A selection of methods without an underpinning philosophy of a questionable value. So it is questionable whether your research will hold any value at all. It is like building a house without a solid foundation. So you need that philosophical framework to guide your choices and ensure that your methods align with your overall research goals. So when you are working on your research projects, remember to clearly articulate the philosophy behind your work. Don't underestimate its significance. By doing so, you will demonstrate a thoughtful approach to your research and increase the chances of achieving a higher score and greater academic success. Next one is why research philosophy matters. Influenced by the way you think about the development of knowledge, because this will affect the way you go about the research itself. And number three, views on research philosophy predominate positivism, interpretivism, and realism. So here we'll discuss about further discuss about uh, positivism, interpretivism, and realism. So positivism, Remini et al. 1998-32 suggests it is preferred by those who prefer working with an observable social reality, and the end product of such research can be law-like generalizations. So basically, positivism is a viewpoint that suggests we should focus on studying observable aspect of social reality. According to Ramini et al., those who prefer positivism believe that outcomes of such research can lead to law-like generalizations. So what exactly positivism is? It is based on the idea that anything that exists can be verified through experiments, observations, and mathematical or logical proof. So in other words, positivism believes that if we cannot observe or prove something, that it does not exist. Positivism offers a valuable perspective for studying social reality by prioritizing observation, experimentation, and verifiable evidence. It aims to establish law-like generalizations. While positivism has its strength and limitations, it remains an influential approach in many fields of research. Positivism assumes research is independent, data or value-free, emphasizes high structure methodology to facilitate replication and quantifiable analysis that can be subjected to statistical analysis. So positivism assumes that the researcher is independent. What does that mean? It means that the researcher should remain neutral and objective when when conducting their study. Secondly, data or value free. So this means that the data collected during the research should not be influenced by the researcher personal values, beliefs, or opinions. Instead, the data should be based on observable facts and objective measurements. Any questions, if anyone is there? Okay. Third one is emphasizes highly structured methodology. In this means the research process should follow a clear and well-defined well-defined set of steps. So last one is facilitate replication and quantifiable analysis. Replication means that other researchers should be able to repeat the study and obtain a similar result. This is important for verifying the validity of the findings. Quantifiable analysis refers to the use of numerical data that can be subjected to statistical analysis. This allows researchers to draw conclusion based on objective measurements and identify patterns or relationship in the data. Any questions, if anyone is there? Okay, interpretivism. Here we'll be discussing the interpretivism approach to social research. This approach is important for understanding the meanings and interpretations that individuals and group attach to their experiences and the social work around them. Unlike other research approaches, they rely heavily on numbers and statistics. So interpretivism focuses on capturing the richness and complexity of human experiences through qualitative methods. One key aspect of interpretivism is recognizing that both of researcher and the human subjects are instrumental in the process of measuring and understanding phenomena. The trained researchers act as an instruments of inquiry, bringing their knowledge, skills, and expertise to the study. Meanwhile, the human subjects are also considered instruments as they provide valuable insights and interpretation of their experiences. Interpretivism is often embraced by researchers who believe that the business world or any social system is too into intricate and faceted to be reduced to sample cause and effect relationship of law. Any questions so far? So interpretivism permits gather richer insight into social processes, embrace the complexity of these processes more readily than functionalism. For example, can leadership or motivation or risks to entirely reduce to a series of generalized law? May be better suited to business situations which are context specific, for example, organization, personal time periods, location, etc. May all be different across the sectors, but this undermines the generalizability of research finding, which are limited to internal validity only. So business situations that are context specific provide organization with the flexibility to address unique challenges and tailor their approaches accordingly. So, however, this specifically hampers the generalizability of research finding, limiting their applicability to specific situation only. To mitigate this issue, we need to strike a balance by identifying and emphasizing a fundamental principle that can transcend contextual boundaries. So by doing so, we can enhance our understanding of business dynamics and make more informed decisions that benefit organization across various sectors. Interpretivism and constructivism. Here we'll discuss these two approaches and how they relate to understanding the reality behind business scenarios. Interpretivism recognizes the importance of comprehending the reality or working reality of each business situation. It emphasizes that simply observing the surface level of a scenario may not provide a complete understanding. Instead, interpretivism suggests that we need to dig deeper and uncover the underlying reality. Any questions so far? So, constructivism, which is closely related to interpretivism. Constructivism also emphasizes that idea that reality is not an objective entity, but is instead constructed by individuals. It suggests that individuals actively construct their understanding of reality through their experiences, interactions, and interpretations. Social constructivism. Researchers also have to make sense of these situations in a way that is meaningful to the research objectives, or research subjects recognize that some interpretations meaning are commonly understood, and this may point to commonly experienced stimuli that generate shared meanings. Basically, social constructivism highlights the importance of understanding how meanings are constructed and shared with a social context. By considering the interpretations and shared meanings of our research subjects, we can develop a more comprehensive understanding of their experiences. Uh, Also remember, our goal is to make our research meaningful to the people we study, and social constructivism helps us achieve that. Realism. Here we are discussing an interesting philosophical perspective called realism. So realism is based on the belief that there is a reality that exists independently of our thoughts and perceptions. In other words, it suggests that there is world out there that exists whether we are aware of it or not. So realism also recognizes that there are powerful social forces at play that can affect people without them even realizing it. These forces can shape our thoughts, our beliefs, and actions without our conscious awareness. In some ways, realism is similar to positivism, which is another philosophical perspective. Both realism and positivism agree that there are external factors that influence our perceptions of reality. Realism, therefore, encourages us to consider the existence of an reality beyond our own minds and to be aware of the social forces that shape our perceptions. How do you choose research philosophy? There are three important variables that you must consider: ontology, epistemology, and axiology. So here, first of all, is ontology. This is all about understanding what things are and how they are relate to one another. It is like taking a closer look at the building blocks of reality. Imagine you are trying to answer the questions, what is real? That's precisely what ontology aims to uncover. So now you might be wondering, why is this important? Well, ontology helps us make sense of the world around us and provides a framework for understanding various aspects of our existence. It helps us categorize and classify things, allowing us to study and analyze them more effectively. Let's take a simple example to illustrate this further. Consider the concept of friendship. Ontology would examine what friendship is, what constitutes a true friend, and how it differs from other types of relationships. It would explore the qualities, actions, and emotions associated with friendship, ultimately providing us with a deeper understanding of these concepts. Ontology and philosophy are positivism, realism, interpretivism. So positivism could be external, objective, independent, social actors. In other hand, realism objectives exist independent of human thoughts, belief, or knowledge of their existence. Realist, but is interpreted through social conditioning. Interpretivism, socially constructed, subjective, may change multiple interpretations. Epistemology. Anyone is there? If you can tell me about epistemology. Okay. Is a branch of philosophy that investigates the origin, nature, methods, and limits of human knowledge. Simply put, it's all about understanding how we come to know things and when we can consider as reliable knowledge within a particular field of study. Epistemology is an essential branch of philosophy that investigates the origin, nature, methods, and limits of human knowledge. It guides us in determining what can be considered acceptable knowledge is in a particular field of study. Through this exploration, we sharpen our critical thinking skills and enhance our ability to separate fact from fiction. Epistemology and philosophy, positivism, realism, interpretivism. Epistemology and philosophy is specifically focusing on three important perspectives. As we discussed earlier, positivism, realism, and interpretivism. So positivism focus on observable phenomena and journal laws, aiming to reduce complexity to its simplest elements. Realism acknowledges the importance of observable phenomena, but recognized potential inaccuracies and the role of context. Interpretivism places a strong emphasis on subjective meanings and the social aspect of phenomena, are seeking to uncover the underlying reality behind the details. So these three perspectives offer a different lenses through which we can view and understand the world around us. By exploring and appreciating these diverse approaches, we can gain a deeper and more understanding of the nature of knowledge and the complexities of human experiences. Any questions so far? Okay, axiology. Axiology is a branch of philosophy that studies judgments about value. What role do your values play in the research? Which data are gathered and which are not? Which findings are emphasized and which are not? Which casualties are claimed and which are not? Axiology and philosophy, again, discussing the three different philosophical perspectives in research. positivism, realism, and interpretivism. So these perspectives shape how researchers approach their work and the role they play in the research process. In axiology point of view. So first, talk about positivism. In this approach, research is conducted in a value-free manner. This means that researchers strive to remain unbiased and independent from the data they collect. Moving on to realism, this perspective takes a different stance. Research in realism is value-laden, meaning that the researcher's personal values, cultural background, and experiences play a significant role in shaping the research process. Last one is interpretivism. In interpretivism, research values are considered to the research process. The researcher cannot be separated from what is being studied and therefore subjectively is embraced. Interpretivism recognizes that individuals and group have unique experiences and interpretations of the world, which are influenced by their culture, language, and social interactions. Positivism emphasizes a value-free and objective approach to research, while realism acknowledges the influence of personal values and experiences on the research process. Interpretivism embraces subjectively and focuses on understanding the diverse perspectives of individuals and communities. Which philosophy is best? Is the wrong question. They are all best, but at different things. The majority of management research will be spread across these individual approaches, and consequently, a mixed approach is often required. Here, he is talking about and in which management philosophy is the best. So, however, I must emphasize that this is actually the wrong question to ask. So let me explain why. You see, there are several management philosophies, such as scientific management, human relation, systems theory, contingency theory, and many more. Each philosophy has its own strengths and weaknesses, and they are designed to address different aspects of managing organizations. If we are saying that one philosophy is the best, we would be overlooking the diverse needs and challenges that organization face. In reality, each philosophy excels in certain areas, but may fall short in others. So it is not about finding the best philosophy, but rather understanding how different philosophies can complement each other. In fact, the majority of management research is spread across these individual approaches. Scholars and practitioners often recognize that a mix of integrated approach is necessary to effectively tackle the complexities of management. By drawing from multiple philosophies, managers can tap into a wider range of tools and strategies to address various organizational issues. The concept of a single best management philosophy is flawed. Instead, a mixed or integrated approach that combines the strengths of various philosophies is often required. So by doing so, managers can effectively address the diverse challenges and complexities that arise in today's dynamic business environment. Any question here? If anyone is there, hello, okay. Mixed approach. Mixed approach does not mean you can adopt all three approaches. There can be only one research approach, or so you need to indicate what your choice is and your justification for it. Here you might be wondering, why is it important to choose a specific research approach or one research approach and not simply adopt all of them? So, well, the choice of approach depends on several factors, including the research questions, valuable resources, and the desired outcomes. Deduction versus inductions. Deduction usually involves the testing of a stated hypothesis which has evolved from a very close understanding of the literature. Uh, Induction usually involves gathering data and searching for theoretical linkages afterward. Uh, Detection is a process that involves testing a stated hypothesis. In other words, we start with the hypothesis, which is an educated guess or a proposed explanation for something. This hypothesis is developed through a very close understanding of the existing literature or previous research in the field. And inductions is a different approach that involves gathering data first and then searching for theoretical linkages or patterns afterwards. In contrast to deduction, induction is associated with a bottom-up approach. We start with specific observations or data and then try to derive general principles or theories based on those observations. Uh, Here I think, do you have enough knowledge of the literature to develop a hypothesis? Probably not. Obviously, when it comes to developing a hypothesis, it is essential to have a solid understanding of the existing literature on the subjects. But as an intermediate level student, it is likely that you may not possess the necessary depth of knowledge to formulate a hypothesis confidentially. So developing a hypothesis requires a comprehensive review of the relevant research, which may be better suited for experts or those with extensive knowledge in the field. Next question is, do you have enough time to gather data in a largely unstructured manner and then attempt to add theoretical sense afterward? Gathering data in an unstructured manner can be a time-consuming process that involves collecting information from various sources, conducted surveys or experiments, and analyzing the gathered data. It requires careful planning and organizations to ensure that the data collected is relevant and meaningful. Additionally, attempting to add theoretical sense to the data afterward can be quite challenging, as it requires a deep understanding of the subject matters and the ability to draw meaningful conclusions from the data collected. Deduction. To test a hypothesis, deduction usually implies that the researcher has control over the variables, probably not. Because of this control, you can design a highly structured methodology suitable for applications, probably not. In reality, deduction can be used even when the researcher does not have direct control over the variable being studied. Deductive reasoning involves making logical connections between premises and drawing conclusions based on them. So these premises can come from a variety of sources, such as previous research, existing theories, or empirical evidence. So impartial evidence, sorry. So while control over variable can certainly be advantageous, it is not a requests for using deduction to test hypothesis. And because of this control, you can design a highly structured methodology suitable for applications, probably not. So deduction allows the highly structured methodology suitable for applications. It is true that structured methodologies are valuable in scientific research. It is not accurate to claim that deduction alone guarantees this. The design of a highly structured methodology depends on various factors, including the nature of the research questions, available resources, and the specific field of study. Deduction can certainly be incorporated into a structured research design, but it is not the sole determinant of such a methodology. Induction, it is likely that you will be able to formulate a critically evaluated theory by gathering the data, probably not. When it comes to formulating critically evaluated theories, it is unlikely that we can rely solely on data gathering or any single approach. A combined approach that incorporates both inductions and deductions, along with a critical evaluation, is more likely to yield reliable and well-supported theories. So that's it for today. Thanks for your patience and your attendance today, if anyone is there. So tomorrow we'll discuss about learning outcomes 4. And thank you very much for today. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So by then, if you have any question, please drop me an email at yasir@ukversity.co.uk. Thank you very much and bye for now.